China has face recognition through masks. They can identify clear. I would bet we have some of that here in the U.S. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I know that we do. Because Northwestern Medicine, the week of lockdowns, they put in thermal cameras in every one of their locations, and they're one of those big monopolies. And they shut the entrances off to all employees, and we all had to be herded in through the ambulance bay so that the thermal cameras, all because of COVID, could pick us up. But I said that I saw that as suspicious. I've gone into it in videos before. So I took pictures of those cameras, the back of them, and them themselves, and, had the serial number. And they went back to one of the Chinese telecom, there were 7 Chinese telecom companies that Trump had blacklisted. And it went back to one of those blacklisted ones. But when I contacted the FBI or DOJ, nobody cared. The media didn't care either. So I don't know, maybe the hospitals, they get a pass and they get to put in the blacklisted cameras, but they were blacklisted, those telecom companies, because of national security risks to us. So that seemed like a concern to me. I just was trying to do my patriotic duty, but God forbid you do that in this country. You'll just be silenced by the Elon Musks and others. And really the only people that got back to me as far as any position was the White House. But I didn't talk to them. They left me a voicemail. So, and that was after all summer long of 2020 contacting them, that these are in all of the Northwestern hospitals. Yeah. So those were facial recognition. That company was able to identify. They can do a lot more than just identify you in a mask. It's a violation. Yeah, nobody ever talks about no candidate. Nobody ever talks about taking us out from under the surveillance state. I have found that alarming for a long time. It's almost like, well, that's here to stay. So, I really don't, that you can make the argument, well, if you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, I used to think that, and then they put the Patriot Act in. But, now it's at a level where, I don't want to live under China's system. So the fact that we never had any candidate talking about taking us out of the China system, it concerns me, because I worry that surveillance state is here to stay, and the excuse will be, again, that, well, they need to keep us safe. So you have to be willing to sacrifice freedom, but you can't, like Benjamin Franklin said, you can't have, if you're going to sacrifice liberty for safety, then don't expect to have freedom. And many people would be fine with that, especially younger people are fine with that surveillance state. But, especially given how corrupt our government is, you don't have any idea how, everybody is, they can locate anybody. So there's no reason that they couldn't locate this guy. The only reason they haven't is because it's a globalist hit job is what it is. So the corrupt system is going to protect the globalists. And yeah, I saw some comments saying that what he was supposed to give testimony, or I think they were United Healthcare was under investigation for insider trading. They're all involved in that. All the heads of the hospital. We live under the mob. That's what the CEOs are. That's why I call them scumbags. They're no different than the mafia. I actually would see the mafia probably as more. I would have more respect for the mafia than I do the mafia system we live under, because they're worse than the mob. Your Tony Soprano types. They're worse than that because they're on a global scale. But they could have totally found this guy. So with how they can track everything, they don't want to. Plus, this was at between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning when it's a busy time and people are going to work. So he just escaped through an alley, yet there's all this videotape coming out of him, and yet, no, they can't locate him. So, because they don't want to, because the system protects the corrupt. The system's going to protect the globalists. And I think this all has something to do with the whole, when I started seeing the nursing associations, the professional associations a couple years ago or a year ago, start coming out heavily about we have to do something about violence in healthcare. Well, first of all, okay, yeah, there's violence in healthcare, but you know, it's really at the psych level. I'm not saying it's never in ERs, because it can be, but the way you would fix that is have staff, okay? Yet my chief nursing officer, who has no psych experience, has pushed on Twitter about ER violence. Like, but she's a CNO in psych, and yet she works in a place that she is either an idiot or she just goes along with the program that, you know, there's not enough staff, and we have dangerous people and we don't have enough staff. So talk about violence. It's like, you know, they just want people to get hurt. I've said that before. But I think that they started pushing that because I've been watching the associations for 4 years, seeing what they're promoting or pushing. So when I started seeing that, I knew, one, it goes to the one of the 17 unsustainable development goals, which is about, you know, taking guns away. So I knew it had something to do with that. But I'm wondering more now if it's because this will roll. They always are planning ahead. You know, they're always planning ahead for what they're going to do, what tyranny they're going to roll out next. So I believe this was all to, you know, start showing that, oh, it's the healthcare system itself is the victim. It's not the people working in it or the people that are the patients in it. No, it's the system itself, you know, to make it look like, no, it like, do you get, I don't know if people understand what I'm saying. It's just, it was strange to see them come out, although the professional associations, everything they push isn't really science-based. It's just politically based on what the UN is about, what the UN is doing, which is the Agenda 2030. So I'm like, okay, so they're really promoting this, and their association members are promoting that we have to do something about violence in healthcare. And these are the same associations that still continue to push DEI and division between, you know, races. When really, let's face it, where the division has nothing to do with skin color. The division is in the billionaire class and the rest of us. And most of us, we could care less about the billionaires, really. I mean, the socialists have always carried on about them, okay? They hate them so much, they are okay with shooting them down, okay? And yet then the very CEOs and billionaires, though, they go in a line with those people. So it's like, it's insanity. But for the most of us, we just want a fair shake, right? We just, you know, it's like, why is it that, you know, when we bring up ideas, they're not interested. So the CEOs, the billionaire class, most of them are a problem. That is where the division is. I don't think that will ever be fixed, because I don't think those people will change. I saw somebody who, I came across a video today of somebody who worked for United Healthcare. Maybe she still does. And she says that, you know, she you know, deals with utilization review, you know, deciding claims. And she said it's bad. It's horrible. And she said the people running all of it are psychopaths. And I've been saying that for a while. They may not go out and shoot people. Well, maybe some of them do. But they're they're sociopaths. They're without conscience, most of them. I've said that about the C-suite in general. So, and they all brought in already this, we have this. So I'm sure it wasn't just at Northwestern. I'm sure we have the facial recognition cameras everywhere.